What is going on, guys? This is Michael Williams from Cartoon Universe, and we're here to discuss the latest Samurai Jack episode. I am joined, of course, by Haley.
Hey, guys.
So this episode was more so just kind of moving the plot forward in a more internal way, almost. Not so much external. We had actually some pretty interesting contrast between Ashi and Jack. I really loved how they did that. So what are your initial thoughts on the episode?
I really liked it. I liked, everything that happened. Like, obviously, Jack is like a whole different person now compared to how he was like the rest of the season. And we also, I guess, maybe got some development for Ashi, or just like saw, it was cool to see more of her, I guess, just throughout the whole episode, fighting people and stuff. But I really liked it.
Yeah, so basically this entire episode pretty much focuses, we get actually an interesting flashback of Jack when he was, when he lost the sword and Aku destroying the last, what is supposedly the last time portal. But yeah, we see Jack fighting these 3 goat monsters that were turned from little baby goats, and he stabs them in the head, all of them. And then they turn back to the little baby goats, and then he just realizes what he just did. And basically he explained that the sword left him. He didn't quite lose it. The sword left him because the sword is basically one of righteousness and justice and all that stuff. And he killed 3 innocent lives, essentially. I actually found that very surprising because he seemed very jarred by killing one of the daughters of Aku the first time he did that, as if he had never killed a living thing before. He'd only been killing robots. So I found that interesting that he actually did kill 3 living things before, 3 baby goats, which I'm not sure why that never came into play when he was kind of having that dilemma when he killed a human being. I guess because they were animals, he didn't think it was as big a deal. But knowing Jack's nature, he's very Buddhist and Zen and peaceful and stuff like that. So I'm very surprised that that actually happened.
Yeah, and what's interesting, I don't know if, like, did you, first, as somebody that's seen old episodes, did you guys know that the sword kind of had, like, this mind of its own and stuff?
I don't think so. Like I said, I haven't seen every single episode. I did see the origin story, and I don't think that was ever mentioned. Like the origin story of the sword and how Jack's father got it and everything. So I don't think that was ever mentioned before. So not that I know of, but I guess that's just something we're kind of learning.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, I think.
Yeah. And then Jack does see a time portal, and Aku basically destroys it. And he says that is the last one left. Now, I'm assuming this is the moment Jack feels like he doesn't have any time portals left. I don't know if that's actually the case, because I feel like Aku could have easily just lied and said that was the last time portal, and Jack would have just assumed that there's no time portals left on Earth and he can never go back. But who knows? So yeah, we get that interesting little flashback, and then Jack and Ashi fly on a bird and actually fly to that very place and go down the hole where the sword was dropped, and the sword isn't there. So basically the sword magically just disappeared, essentially, which I'm like, yeah, the sword wasn't there, so it's fine or whatever. But I'm like, why did Jack never attempt to go down that hole if he could have done that the whole time? Is why I'm very confused. Because initially I was like, oh, he can't fly or anything. He would fall, he would die. There's no way for him to get the sword back. That's why I mentioned, I think in the last review or the review before that the Scotsman, now that he's a ghost, he could have potentially gone down the hole and got it. But yeah, I don't know why he just didn't do that in the first place.
I think he knew that it was magic. It's like kind of like a magic sword, so it seems, because especially like who made it, the sword and stuff, that it could potentially disappear because of all this spiritual stuff or whatever, that Jack was not worthy of the sword anymore, I guess. So it just disappeared.
Right. I mean, that makes sense, but he didn't know. Like, he didn't know that, because why would he go back to that hole if he already knew that it would have disappeared?
True.
So yeah, that was kind of weird. I don't know why that is, but he's just so broken that he just gave up right then and there. Like, I guess because he didn't have a time portal, so he was just like, whatever. And I guess if we're going back to like how he felt like he let everyone down in the world and felt like there was no hope left, and him not being able to go back, there was no point in him even fighting Aku anymore, I guess was his logic. Even though, as we've seen, the world does have a lot of hope, does really look up to Jack still as a hero, as someone who can still save them. So maybe now he's thinking more so, I'm just going to do this in the present day rather than go back, worry about getting a time portal and going back to the past and stopping him that way. So yeah, basically this whole episode we see 2 different sides. We see Jack's story and Ashi's little story. And Jack is basically meditated for like a long time. We see a pretty big time lapse there. Not sure how Ashi was able to just sit there without eating or drinking that whole time.
Right.
But yeah, so Jack goes into this meditative state where he's like basically in this little, it's almost like the Avatar, like spirit realm state. If you just like meditate and you just kind of going into this other worldly realm, which is kind of actually exists. And he travels across this sea and sees this temple, and there's a monk there who tells him to make tea, and it's very peaceful and quiet and slow. And then we get these like really dramatic cuts to Ashi fighting this army, and this army is after Jack, trying to kill him. And it's like really intense and gory and violent and loud and fast, and Ashi basically takes on the entire army by herself, which is absolutely insane.
I know, right? That was interesting. I was like, okay, how is she gonna do this? What kind of power is she gonna pull out? Or like, I don't know, use something with the mountain and make it topple down. But no, she just literally ran into all of them at first. Like, wow, that's something.
Yeah, it's a testament to how intense her training was as a child.
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a really dramatic cut, and Jack's making tea, and it's all good. And he gives it to the monk, and the monk says, "Nope, tea's terrible. You have all the right ingredients, but it lacks balance," which I actually really love that. I feel like that's a very interesting philosophical thing right there. And basically Jack's little inner demon guy version of Jack, who gets more and more demented looking every time we see him. He was almost like comically like cartoony this time. And basically he's actually manifested himself, and he's like actually a physical thing now. It's not just in Jack's head, because Jack is like in his head now, essentially.
That's true. Yeah.
So basically that's what's holding him back, all these negative thoughts, all this anger, all this built up rage that is inside him. And Jack basically defeats him. And he's given the sword of righteousness once again by the gods, much like his father was back in the origin story. And he gets revived. He has his old classic clothes and his classic hair, and his beard is gone, and the Jack we know is finally back. Really cool stuff. He looks like different in HD for some reason. Like, he looks like almost skinnier in a way. It's like kind of weird. I can't really explain it. I don't know if you noticed that difference. Like,
No.
I don't know. He looks like thinner. I don't know how else to explain it. And Ashi actually has a run-in with the High Priestess, her mother, who is very disappointed, actually. And Ashi explains to her that all of her teachings were wrong and she was incorrect this whole time, and the samurai is the one who is good and Aku is evil. And obviously the mother doesn't want to hear it, and she takes off her robe, and we see some pretty intense thick shots from Ashi's mother.
God.
And they have a pretty intense battle, and Ashi straight up murders her mother. So that was good.
That's pretty much,
presumably,
what happened.
Yeah, presumably she got stabbed impaled rather
in the head, or
no, right in the middle of in her chest, and she fell down the mountain. So I don't think she's alive unless there's some type of magic she has that can revive her or something like that. We didn't actually see her face. I know a lot of people were speculating if it was a previous character or not. I don't think it is. I don't think that's necessarily important, because there aren't a lot of important characters in Samurai Jack, so I feel like that reveal wouldn't matter too much. I could totally be wrong. But yeah, I think that's probably the last we're going to see of her, but we'll just have to wait and see. We may see some of the other daughters of Aku that may have survived that fall into the snow. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And then Jack and Ashi finally meet up again after he's done meditating. He's got his classic clothes back, he's shaven, and they said they're going after Aku now. So that's where the episode cuts. And yeah, it was a good episode. A lot of development. Like I said, I really like the contrast, the juxtaposition between the really dramatic action scenes with Ashi and the really calm and slow-paced meditation of Jack. I really liked how they did that. It was like almost comedic the way they cut it. And then in the new preview, we actually see them in some type of city, which I'm guessing is like the main city or whatever. And they're running from something. We have no idea what they're running from. We don't know what building they are. I don't recognize it. They could be from an old episode. Like I said, I haven't seen every single episode, so this could be for something previous, but I don't think it is. They're running from something and they get lost. So they're in the city, they're looking for something or something, but we don't really know just yet. I haven't seen any episode descriptions. But yeah, what are your overall thoughts on the upcoming episode?
Oh, well, I had something from this episode, actually, that I wanted
cool.
to talk about. Yeah, so you mentioned it, but I have a little bit more information. So basically, you did mention that Jack's father's sword was made by these three gods that we see in this episode, and that was actually from the birth of evil parts 1 and 2, which were episodes 11 and 12 of season 3.
Yes.
And basically this happens when, I guess, I haven't seen the whole episode, but I saw some clips.
Okay, I can help you out.
I was told some stuff about it, and apparently Jack's father was kind of at his lowest point. His kingdom was being destroyed by a coup, so that's an interesting parallel to this. So there's probably like a lot more parallels between, his father getting the sword and Jack getting the sword. Now this is his sword versus that was just his father's sword, which I didn't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, so that's really cool. Now he has his own sword.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't notice that parallel. That's a good point.
But as in for the next episode, yeah, that looks pretty interesting. I don't really have too much to say. I just saw it, but like I kind of you pretty much covered what happens. So.
Yeah, there's not too much to say yet. We're not sure what exactly is going on. Yeah, so next episode is episode 8. So that only leaves 3 episodes left. So that's pretty crazy. Things are about to go down pretty soon. I feel like next episode actually is going to have some crazy stuff in it. And they're just kind of hiding it, which is why they didn't really give us too much to work with as far as the promo goes. They didn't really tell us exactly what's going on. So I'm really excited. Hopefully we see the Scotsman soon. Hopefully next episode, that'd be really great. Love to see them meet up again. But yeah, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done Samurai Jack forever. It's getting really close. But yeah, this is a good episode as usual. All the episodes are really good. Can't wait to see what happens. But yeah, that pretty much covers it. What did you guys think of this episode? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let us know what you liked. What's your favorite part? Let us know in the comments down below. If you like this video, leave it a like. And if you want more Samurai Jack reviews and theories and such, be sure to subscribe for that and all things animation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.